Chapter 1011 Swallowed Star. What about them? The Moshe clone looked at the other babies. Which Emperor Ocean are they from? North Anluo is from the ancestral ocean too. The baby's eyes were very bright, his words were also very organized. Other than North Anluo and me, the others are all from the Emperor Ocean. Some are from the major ocean, some from the minor ocean. Double quote. The Moshe clone nodded to himself. The Emperor Ocean was split into the major and minor ocean? Work hard, you too can become an undying. The Moshe clone caressed the baby's blood-colored horn and smiled. HM. The baby nodded. The Moshe clone then turned and left. The baby watched as the Moshe clone left, biting his lips, his eyes filled with unwillingness. Leader. Leader. The other babies all flew over. How is it, leader, did the Undying Lord take you in as a disciple? You're still asking? The Undying Lord left? Of course he didn't. The other babies were all chattering away. Back then, when the golden horned beast was still a child, it caused a huge calamity on Earth. These aborigines of the infant stage were all very intelligent. Shut up. The baby roared, after which he looked unwillingly at the back of the Moshe clone. Originally, he thought that the Undying had high hopes for him and was willing to take him in as a disciple. He was so passionate about everything he didn't expect the Undying to not accept him. One must know that in the entire group of natives, all of them were sector lords, resulting in a large number of sector lords, but Undyings were extremely rare. In the army, sector lord soldiers and Undying soldiers had a ratio of 1,001. This was because most of the sector lord civilians didn't enter the army. In truth, the ratio of sector lords to Undyings was even more exaggerated. To be able to receive the training of an Undying, that was a great future. The Undying didn't accept me as a disciple because I was from the ancestral ocean, and the Undying Lord was from the Emperor Ocean? The baby leader gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with unwillingness. HMPH, I was born in the ancestral ocean. In terms of birth, I'm even more noble. One day, I, Marcy Luo, will definitely become an Undying, and an Undying captain, or even a general. Double quote. The Moshe clansman leisurely strolled around the city. He could clearly hear the conversations of the tens of thousands of natives within 1,000 kilometers. As he listened, he organized the information in his mind. Suddenly hearing the 108 princes' conversation, the Moshe racer's clone listened leisurely. However, he suddenly felt as if he was struck by lightning, and he stood rooted to the ground. 108 princes. 108. 108 Emperor sees. The Moshe clan's clone stood still as a light lit up in his mind. Ancestral sea, royal sea. 108 royal seas. 108 princes. What a coincidence, they are both 108. Could it be that every royal sea is related to a prince? The Moshe clone's eyes grew brighter and brighter. If the royal sea is related to the prince, then the ancestral sea is related to the Lord of Nine Hells. Right? Teacher once said that the Lord of the Netherworld is invincible in the Netherworld spacetime. In that case, the Lord of the Ninth Hell would probably be able to utilize the power of the Ninth Hell Ocean. That Lord of the Ninth Hell Ocean, its power is limitless, probably not any weaker than the 5-color Aurora Lake. To be able to utilize the Ninth Hell Ocean, he is indeed invincible in the universe. Double quote. The more the Moshe clone thought, the more excited he got. He even had another thought in his mind. Why do all the princes have an imperial sea? Are they born together? In other words, after every prince is born, there will be an imperial sea. Double quote. If my third clone can be like the princes, born with an imperial sea. 108 princes, according to the information I've gathered, some are universe supremacies, some are immortals, and some are sector lords. Although the princes have high positions, and even have universe supremacies protecting them, making it hard to obtain the prince genes. But if this prince's talent is truly heaven-defying, then for the third clone, even if I have to use the Lord of Nine Hells favor I owe teacher, it's worth it. The Moshe clone's mind swiftly organized his thoughts. Based on the current information, Lord of Nine Hells, 108 princes, Ancestral Sea, 108 Imperial Seas, the numbers matched perfectly. Along with the fact that the Lord of Nine Hells was invincible in Nine Hells space, it could be said, there was a high probability of a connection. Princes, even if they were the weaker Lord of Nine Hells. And from what the Aboriginals said, the princes are all undying, which also means, to a certain degree, they have the ability to be undying. The Moshe clansman listened to the surrounding Aboriginals' discussions and continued to gather information. He walked around the city for 2 days straight. Obviously the Aboriginal children were taught from a young age, you have to be loyal to the Emperor, loyal to the princes. Emperor, the princes, their authority cannot be violated. Fighting for the Emperor, fighting for the princes, its glory. The more information he gathered on the princes, the more Luo Feng anticipated. Finally he decided to meet his teacher, the Primal Chaos City leader. Virtual Universe, highest point of Thunder Island. Within that majestic palace shrouded in endless energy currents, Luo Feng stepped through the door and entered the palace. Teacher. Standing in the palace, Luo Feng faced the endless energy currents and said respectfully, "You've met with trouble in the Nine Hells world." Along with a warm and gentle voice, the golden-robed Primal Chaos City leader walked over. "Have you already used that favor?" "Not yet," Luo Feng said respectfully. The Primal Chaos City leader was shocked. "You escaped capture? Your disciple has a Moshe clansman." Luo Feng said, "I fell into the Nine Hells world." The Moshe clansman finally rushed over. "How did he rush over?" the Primal Chaos City leader asked. "Don't tell me your Moshe clansman passed through the Nine Hells whirlpool?" "I'm afraid not." He directly passed through the Nine Hells world, Luo Feng said. The Primal Chaos City leader looked suspiciously at Luo Feng, even though he hadn't been there before, but since it was the territory of the Nine Hells Lord, then that place was definitely very safe. Even a knight's strength wouldn't be able to forcefully enter that place. "My disciple's Moshe clansman had some special encounters, acquiring the natural ability domain," Luo Feng said directly. Domain. Even though the Primal Chaos City Master was shocked, he also knew that amongst the Moshe race, some of the universe paragons he knew had the innate secret technique domain. After all, the Moshe race was a reproducing race. Some information that wasn't too confidential had long been known to the outside world. At least Primal Chaos City leader level existences all know about this domain move. Domain is indeed very powerful. The Primal Chaos City leader smiled and nodded. "Unless one becomes a universe lord, otherwise before this technique is extremely powerful." Luo Feng nodded. "Since you have the Moshe clansman's protection, then escaping from the Nine Hells world shouldn't be hard. You are after all an inheritor of the ancestral god sect, and the Nine Hells Lord has a deep relationship with the ancestral god sect. He won't personally act to deal with you. Since that's the case, why have you come to find me?" the Primal Chaos City leader asked curiously. Luo Feng took a deep breath. "Your disciple has already acquired the World Tree's leaf before, only the nurturing of the third body failed." Failed? The Primal Chaos City leader sighed softly. He too felt pity for his disciple. "However, your disciple has discovered something else." Luo Feng looked at the Primal Chaos City leader. "Speak." "Your disciple will first ask teacher, that Nine Hells Lord, what's his relationship with the Nine Hells Ocean." Luo Feng stared at his teacher. The Primal Chaos City leader looked shocked at Luo Feng, following which he said, "This is one of the biggest secrets of the universe. I'll tell you, That Nine Hells Lord is the Nine Hells Ocean. The Nine Hells Ocean is also the Nine Hells Lord. Double quote. Luo Feng's body trembled. My God. This was even more exaggerated than he had expected. In the history of the universe, the Nine Hells Lord has always been a terrifying being. In terms of position and strength, he doesn't lose to me? The Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed. Actually, in a one-on-one, he's weaker than me. However, why is he able to match up to me? Because, even if I kill him, he'll quickly appear again. Double quote. Which means, he's undying. The Primal Chaos City leader said. Luo Feng was shocked. Kill the Nine Hells Lord, and a new one will appear. Kill again, and another one will appear. It's endless. Such an opponent, just how terrifying is he? The Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed. Hence the Nine Hells Lord, even the ancestral god sect has to treat him with respect. Many things the beast gods can't do, they let him do. There's no such thing as an eternal secret. Many warriors have been researching on how the Universe Lord can swiftly regenerate. After all, losing a powerful god body, with so much energy, it should take a very long time to revive. The Primal Chaos City leader said. Only later did they discover that the moment he dies, then, a new one will be born in the Nine Hells Ocean. The Nine Hells Ocean is his endless source of energy. The Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed. Back then, we only guessed that the Nine Hells Ocean and the Nine Hells Lord had a special connection. It was only later on, that the matter that truly made the Nine Hells Lord's name shake the universe happened. That time, he killed a Universe Lord. Because of a certain treasure, the demon race's two universe lords joined hands to kill the Nine Hells Lord, chasing him all the way to the Nine Hells Ocean. The Primal Chaos City leader said, at that time, the Nine Hells Lord immediately escaped into the Nine Hells Ocean. The moment he entered the Nine Hells Ocean, he immediately vanished. Simultaneously, the entire ocean ignited, burning with endless god energy. The entire ocean ignited? Luo Feng was stunned. Right. The Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed, the entire ocean ignited. Clearly, the Lord of Tartarus was enraged and used all his strength to burn the entire ocean. That power was too terrifying, directly suppressing the supreme treasures of the two lords of the universe of the demon race. In an instant, one of the lords of the universe was completely killed, while the other escaped with the help of the supreme treasure. Double quote. The universe lord that died was called Kang Yang Lord. The lord of the universe who escaped is called the Skywolf Lord. The Primal Chaos City leader looked at Luo Feng. During this battle, there were still other warriors following behind, preparing to take advantage of the situation at any time. After this battle, the news spread far and wide. Only a few absolute beings in the universe knew that the Nine Hells Lord was the Nine Hells Ocean. The Nine Hells Ocean is the Nine Hells Lord. Double quote. As long as the Nine Hells Ocean exists, he will never be destroyed. Even after returning to the Nine Hells Ocean, he will be invincible in the universe. Chapter 1012 Swallowed Star. With that god energy ocean with a diameter of over 10 light years, who in the universe can compete with him in terms of god energy? The Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed, it's too ridiculous, that god body is too ridiculous. Luo Feng nodded. It was indeed ridiculous. There were many special life forms in the universe, and many of them were huge too. However, the pinnacle of the special life forms could only reach a few 100 million km in height. And these were mainly plant and rock-type special life forms. And the Nine Underworld Ocean had a diameter of over 10 light years. A few 100 million km and 10 light years, it could be said that the strongest world tree was like a drop in the ocean. It's just that no one understands why he has such a huge god body. The Primal Chaos City leader shook his head. Other than 9 underworlds, no one else in the universe is that ridiculous. Oh, there's one more thing. I've never heard of this 9 underworld lord having any special abilities or techniques. Double quote. HM. Luo Feng was stunned. No special abilities. The Nine Underworld Lord is without a doubt a special life form in the universe. The Primal Chaos City leader said, however, even if he's destroyed and another god body pops out, he's never used any techniques before. Double quote. This universe is fair. Giving him such a ridiculous god body, I'm afraid it's given him a lot of restrictions. The Primal Chaos City leader said. The Primal Chaos City leader suddenly looked at Luo Feng. Why did you ask about the Nine Underworld Lord? Can you tell me now? Your disciple wants to nurture the third body, to nurture a body similar to a prince. Luo Feng said. Prince? The Primal Chaos City leader was stunned. Right, the princes of the Nine Underworld. Luo Feng explained, according to what your disciple knows, those princes too have an ocean similar to the Nine Underworld Ocean, only it's called the Emperor Ocean. However, the Nine Underworld Lord only has 3 children. The Primal Chaos City leader said. 3. Luo Feng was shocked. Right, his 3 children, one of them is considered a universe overlord, the other 2 are universe knights. The Primal Chaos City leader said, however, these 3 children, even if they are killed, they can still revive. Luo Feng immediately laughed. Teacher, according to your disciple's research in the Nine Underworld, the Nine Underworld Lord actually has a total of 108 children, and that Nine Underworld too has 108 Emperor Oceans. It's just that these princes vary in strength. There are 3 universe paragons, 10s of immortals and 10s of sector lords. Double quote. 108. The Primal Chaos City Master was shocked, following which his eyes lit up. Since there are 108 of them coexisting, then the genetic level of their life shouldn't be too high. Your chances of success are extremely high. Luo Feng nodded. He thought so as well. There were a total of 9 world trees, and the Lord of Tartarus had 108 children. As the saying went, the higher the number, the lower the level of life. After all, the more heaven-defying a life form was, the rarer it was. Many of them are unique in the universe. You can obtain the Emperor Ocean's water? Primal Chaos City Master said. The 108 Emperor Seas are at the center of the entire Nine Netherworld world. There aren't any aboriginal armies stationed there. Luo Feng said. Wrong. The Primal Chaos City Master shook his head. There's no army, but the Master of the 9 Underworlds will pay attention. Luo Feng was stunned. Right. The Netherworld Sea was the true body of the Lord of the Netherworld, and the Netherworld world was probably a world that was completely under his control. The Lord of the Netherworld was surely aware of everything that was happening. I've only taken some water, it should be fine. Luo Feng was nervous. The water is after all a part of his child's body. However, just some water from an ocean, if you take it, it might be fine, it might be. The Primal Chaos City Master said, if you're discovered by the Lord of the 9 Underworlds, just take the water and tell him you're my disciple. A favor, getting some water, it's nothing. Luo Feng was even more grateful within. The Primal Chaos City Master had indeed helped him a lot. The Primal Chaos City Master however looked at Luo Feng, satisfied. If Luo Feng's third body was similar to the Lord of the 9 Underworlds, then he would be able to reappear after dying. And the energy would be endless. That would definitely be a great warrior of the human race. A warrior that wasn't afraid of death. Your disciple will work hard to get the water. Luo Feng couldn't take it anymore. Go. The Primal Chaos City Master was filled with anticipation too. 9 Netherworld. The Moshe clansman's eyes gleamed with passion, after which he rushed into the sky and headed straight for the center of the 9 Netherworld world. The 9 Netherworld was vast and boundless. The Moshe clansman's flight took a total of half a year. Emperor Ocean. The Moshe clansman was high in the sky. He could see the distant endless ocean. It was indeed magnificent. I'll first carefully scan these 108 Emperor Oceans. Even though he had long known about the 108 Emperor Oceans, he wasn't clear on the detailed data. The size of these oceans would affect his future god body. Luo Feng naturally had to be clear on it. This flight scan took another month. From high above, he observed with his naked eye and deduced the data. 108 Emperor Oceans, of which 56 of them had blood-red water, almost like blood. It was completely worthy of being called a blood ocean. These 56 blood oceans were of the same size, with a diameter of about 80 million kilometers. There were 49 Emperor Oceans. The water was turbulent, similar to normal ocean. The size was the same, however its diameter was a shocking 960 million kilometers. These were the aboriginal so-called minor Emperor Oceans. There were 3 Emperor Oceans that were similar to normal ocean water. Their sizes were slightly different. Their diameters ranged from 32 billion kilometers to 101 billion kilometers. These were the aboriginal so-called Grand Emperor Oceans. So many aboriginals have come to pay their respects. The Moshe clansmen gazed below. The 108 Emperor Oceans, especially around the Minor and Grand Emperor Oceans, had aboriginals kneeling there, expressing their respect. As for the smallest blood ocean, there weren't any aboriginals worshipping it. Paying respects. The Moshe clansmen nodded. Many of the aboriginals were born in the Minor and Grand Emperor Oceans. These Emperor Oceans were like their parents. When they were just born, they would be taken away and sent to various gathering places in the cities. When they grew up and were strong enough, they would usually come here to pay their respects. Even when many aboriginals reached the end of their lifespans, they would also come here and kneel there, quietly waiting for their time to come. Born here, they would also die here. These aboriginals probably don't know that the prince is the Emperor Ocean, and the Emperor Ocean is the prince's secret. The Moshe clansmen gazed from high above, thinking, however, they were born in the Emperor Ocean, and some in the Ancestral Ocean. Probably from the very core of life, they would naturally respect the prince and emperor. Double quote. Su. The Moshe clansman rushed downwards. Very quickly, he landed beside a blood ocean. The Minor Emperor Ocean represented the undying level prince. The Grand Emperor Ocean represented the universe's night level princes. And the Blood Ocean represented the Sector Lord level princes. Sector Lord princes are weak, and their oceans all look like a blood ocean, and they have no way of giving birth to life. Only after becoming an undying, the blood ocean will transform and become like a normal ocean. In truth, it's a true evolution, only then will life be born. Luo Feng nodded. Around the 108 Emperor Oceans, Major and Minor Emperor Oceans, there were countless aboriginals kneeling and paying their respects. Beside the blood ocean, however, there were no worshippers, because no life was born within the blood ocean. What are you doing here? A silhouette flew down from the sky. It was an undying aboriginal. The Moshe clansman glanced at him and turned to look at the vast blood ocean ahead. Within the blood ocean, the endless blood was flowing. The Moshe clansman's voice was filled with respect. I just want to look at this blood ocean. I was born in the Grand Emperor Ocean, however, the Grand Emperor Ocean was like this blood ocean a long time ago. Be careful. The undying aboriginal stared at the Moshe clansman. There's a strict order that forbids fighting or attacking around the blood ocean, taking away the blood ocean's water, etc. Of course I understand. The Moshe clansman nodded. The undying aboriginal didn't speak further. He too believed his clansman wouldn't do such a taboo. The Moshe clansman watched as the undying aboriginal left, thinking, I didn't expect there to be such a taboo. The time I've had to gather information is too short. Right, the Emperor Ocean is a prince, the Blood Ocean is a Sector Lord prince. Sector Lord princes are weak, their life force is relatively weaker, Some of the stronger aboriginals can easily injure the blood ocean. If they want to, they can even kill sector lord princes. In the land and skies, threads of blood mist didn't disperse. Within the blood ocean, the endless blood constantly flowed. At the edge of the blood ocean, the Moshe clansman stood there. I can't care so much. The Moshe doppelganger looked around. Because there were no worshippers around the Blood Sea, the closest worshippers were billions of kilometers away. As long as he moved fast enough, no one would notice him. Only one person would know, the Lord of Hades. I'll get some of this blood ocean water and leave. It should be fine. The blood ocean with a diameter of 80 million kilometers shouldn't care about this bit of water. The Moshe clansman was actually nervous, because there was a definite possibility that terrifying 9 underworld leader would be enraged. For the third body. For the future opportunities. I'll give it my all. The Moshe clansman immediately unleashed his domain, appearing on the surface of the blood ocean. With a wave of his hand, he controlled a portion of the blood ocean water and kept it in his world ring. This world ring was carried by his earth body. It was the strongest and safest world ring Luo Feng had. Of course, with the power of the 9 underworld leader, he could easily destroy it. How is this ocean water? It's basically fresh blood. The moment the Moshe clansman touched the blood ocean water, his nose could smell the thick blood stench. The Moshe clansman immediately returned to his original position. These 2 domain activations didn't even take 0.1 seconds, the blood ocean water was already in his hands. When I travel through the 9 underworld world, the 9 underworld leader already knows of my domain's power. The Moshe clansman looked at the distant aboriginals. It's good that they didn't discover me. If these aboriginals discover that I've touched the taboo, they'll probably surround and attack me. Just as the Moshe clansman was about to leave. Rumble. A majestic and inconceivable aura descended. The 9 netherworld energy in the surrounding 100 million kilometers instantly formed a vacuum, completely gathering in mid-air in front of Luo Feng, forming the silhouette of a huge face. The surrounding sky and land were filled with boundless rage, and the color of the sky and land changed, becoming blood red. Within the blood-red land and skies, that huge head coldly gazed at the Moshe clansman. The 9 underworld leader had descended. Chapter 1013 Swallowed Star. The Moshe clansman was shocked. With a sweep of his gaze, he realized, the surrounding 100 million kilometers was completely cut off from the outside world. To be able to do such a thing in an instant, probably only the 9 Abyss Emperor could do it. And at this time, the aboriginals who were worshipping by the side of the Emperor Ocean, even if they looked towards Luo Feng, they could only see a normal blood ocean. They couldn't see anything special. The huge head floated in mid-air, gazing down at the Moshe clansman. Human. You are challenging my patience. A cold voice resounded throughout the blood-colored land and skies. The Moshe clansman was shocked within. This ruler of the netherworld was indeed omniscient. Everything that he had done in the netherworld realm was probably under his observation. He was currently a clone of the Moshe clan, but this ruler of the netherworld still said human. It was clear that he believed that his human clone was the real body. Luckily he didn't kill me the moment he arrived. The Moshe clansman thought. Looks like he still cares about his position. And his relationship with the ancestral god sect isn't shallow. Against me, the inheritor, he didn't directly attack. But what do I do now? His position is special and noble. Even the 3 great ancestral god sect ask him for help with some matters. The reason why he didn't immediately attack is because of his status. If I anger him even a little more, he'll probably kill me. Whether it's the ancestral god sect or the human race, they won't be able to do anything. Firstly, I can't anger him anymore. Secondly, I have to protect the blood ocean water. This Nine Abyss Emperor may have guessed my true goal from my earlier actions, like stealing the World Tree branch. However, that might not be the case. I stole the branch from the Tree Island. That's the World Tree's territory. That strongest World Tree is after all a Universe Lord. The Nine Abyss Emperor shouldn't be constantly watching that place. Double quote. No expert likes to be stared at all the time. Even I don't like to be watched. Much less that strongest World Tree. Hence, it's very likely that the Nine Abyss Emperor didn't notice when I stole the branch. Double quote. If he didn't notice, he might not have guessed my true goal this time. The Moshe clansman heard the Nine Abyss Emperor's huge head roar. Many thoughts flashed through his mind and he immediately made preparations. Greetings, Universe Lord. The Moshe clone bowed respectfully. At the same time, it switched its body. The human body appeared while the Moshe clone returned to the world ring. Since the Nine Underworld Lord had already called him human, Luo Feng naturally revealed his earth body. This was also a form of respect to the Nine Underworld Lord. Horizontal ellipsis. Since you've already escaped the encirclement, why haven't you left? The giant head looked down. I was hoping for luck. Luo Feng said respectfully, after escaping the encirclement, I thought the Moshe clansmen wouldn't be seen through, and the inheritors of the ancestral god sect have always kept the location of the Nine Underworld Whirlpool a secret. That's why I wanted to take a good look at it. I was hoping that I wouldn't be discovered, but now that I've seen the Lord of the Universe, I immediately understand that everything that happened was under the Lord of the Universe's observation. Double quote. The huge head looked down and observed Luo Feng. Luo Feng was respectful, not panicking at all. My true name is Nine Nether, the giant head suddenly spoke. Nine Underworld Lord. Luo Feng replied respectfully. The giant head said slowly, Human Blade River Emperor, I've heard of some things about you. You rely on your natural ability to clone yourself. Even if you're killed by me, you can revive, hence you're not panicking at all, is that right? Luo Feng said, Blade River meeting the Nine Underworld Lord, how can I not panic? I'm just pretending to be calm. Double quote. Ha ha ha. The giant head laughed. The laughter was like a tidal wave, engulfing the entire blood-red land and land. After a while, the laughter stopped. The huge face gradually became cold, staring coldly at Luo Feng. You should know, the 108 Emperor Oceans, especially the Blood Ocean, are forbidden to touch. That's a taboo. You should have gathered this information in my world. Why did you still dare to take away the Blood Ocean's water? Speak. Double quote. Speak. 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 This speak pierced straight into Luo Feng's soul, resounding within his mind, immediately causing him to fall into an illusion. Break. Luo Feng's willpower surpassed most of the Universe Knights. It was terrifyingly strong. For the Nine Underworld Lord to use just his voice to affect Luo Feng, it wasn't enough. The Nine Underworld Lord gazed at Luo Feng, his cold expression revealing shock. He knew that the Blade River Emperor was a Sector Lord. A Sector Lord was actually able to resist his voice's illusion. One had to know that even some knights could fall for it if they weren't careful. I was very curious about the legendary 108 Emperor Oceans, hence I came to take a look. I discovered that the other Emperor Ocean's water was very normal, only the small Blood Ocean. Looking carefully, the Blood Ocean's water was like fresh blood. I could even smell the stench of blood. I was curious, hence I took some water. Luo Feng said respectfully, I was thinking, the Blood Ocean is so big, a little water shouldn't be much. I was hoping for luck. Hoping for luck? The giant head gazed at Luo Feng, its voice getting colder. HMPH, you know it's a taboo, yet you still dare to violate it. Then you have to be prepared to bear the consequences. Double quote. Halfway through the sentence, Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. Not good. Luo Feng originally didn't want to use the favor the Nine Underworld Lord owed his teacher. He couldn't care less, immediately saying, "Nine Underworld Lord. I originally wanted to." Nine Underworld Lord. Luo Feng's and the Nine Underworld Lord's words resounded simultaneously. Luo Feng was about to shout those words earlier, however after hearing the words "I originally wanted to," Luo Feng immediately swallowed those words back down. The giant head gazed below, laughing coldly. "You thought I wanted to kill you? I originally wanted to kill you, however considering that you're a newly nurtured warrior of the Ancestral God Sect, I gave up on that thought." Ancestral God Sect. Luo Feng was stunned. The Ancestral God Sect is split into official members and outer members. The giant head gazed at Luo Feng, and the true battles actually rely more on the outer members. The outer members of the Ancestral God Sect are the strongest fighting force. Luo Feng nodded as he heard. There were only so many official members of the Ancestral God Sect, and the outer members were made up of countless absolute geniuses from trillions of races in the universe. Like candidate envoys, candidate generals, beast god inheritors that have reached a high level, many of them had the strength of an overlord in the universe. This was definitely a very terrifying power. I am the outer member of the Ancestral God Sect, the Guardian God Lord. Nine Underworlds. The giant head gazed at Luo Feng. "You, Blade River Emperor, are a core member of the outer members of the Ancestral God Sect." Luo Feng blinked. "Guardian God Lord?" The outer members are split into Protector Envoys, Protector Knights, Protector Leaders and Protector God Lords. The giant head gazed at Luo Feng. "Every God Lord leads a power. You, Blade River Emperor from today onwards, will be the outer member of the Ancestral God Sect, the Protector Envoys of our Nine Underworlds. As your strength grows, your position will naturally rise. If you accept, I'll spare your life, if not, you know the consequences." Luo Feng blinked. My god. So this Nine Underworlds Emperor was the Guardian God Lord. He originally wanted to use the Nine Underworlds Emperor to owe his teacher a favor. He didn't expect the Ancestral God Sect to have their eyes on him long ago. "Even though you've joined the outer members, we won't let you become enemies with the human race," the giant head said coldly. "The outer members have always been very free, usually there aren't any restrictions. Occasionally our Ancestral God Sect will have some matters to settle, only then will we give orders. If you're unwilling, you can even write down the reason, the Ancestral God Sect won't force you. Join, or not?" The Nine Underworlds Emperor looked coldly at Luo Feng. Luo Feng blinked. "Greetings Guardian God Lord." Luo Feng bowed respectfully. "You're smart," the Nine Underworlds Emperor said. "All right, this is the Ancestral God Badge." A black badge appeared out of thin air. It descended from above and landed before Luo Feng. Luo Feng extended his hand to receive it. It was heavy and cold. There were only 2 words on it. Ancestral God. This word was formed from countless engravings. Luo Feng didn't recognize it, however with one look he knew it was the word Ancestral God. "Imprint it with your life imprint, only you can use the Ancestral God Badge." The Nine Underworlds Emperor gazed at Luo Feng. "Through this badge, you can contact the Ancestral God Sect. The Ancestral God Sect's missions are also issued through the badge. As long as you're within this universe, you can use the badge to communicate." Luo Feng was shocked. Wasn't this the same as the virtual universe? Only through words. The Nine Underworlds Emperor continued. "The Ancestral God Badge is very special, make sure you don't lose it." Understood. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief within. Only through words, however it was already very powerful. Obviously this badge wasn't easy to make. "If anyone from the Ancestral God Sect comes looking for you, just take out this badge and they'll understand," the Nine Underworlds Emperor said. "Yes." Luo Feng replied respectfully. Go. The moment the 9 underworlds emperor finished, a formless energy enveloped Luo Feng. Su. Luo Feng had already vanished. The huge head however made a sound. This Blade River Emperor has entered my sect. I didn't take the initiative to snatch it. It was he who came to my 9 underworlds and even offended me. That's why I took him in. If those punks find out, who knows what they'll do. Ha ha ha. The last time Bud Emperor was snatched by Feng Xian. This time Blade River Emperor has fallen into my hands. Ha ha ha. Double quote. HM. Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. He was already in space. With a glance he could see the distant 9 underworlds space. I'm actually outside the 9 underworlds space. Luo Feng was shocked within at the 9 underworlds emperor's methods. Following which Luo Feng was overjoyed within, however on the surface he didn't dare show it. Who knew if the 9 underworlds emperor was observing? He immediately ordered his soul slave to activate the God Country transfer. Weng. A misty golden light lit up. Luo Feng brought his soul slave and stepped in, following which he vanished into space. Within the Primal Region Palace. Ha ha ha, Luo Feng appeared in the palace. His face finally revealed a look of glee. Success. He had brought the Blood Ocean water. Chapter 1014 Swallowed Star. Maybe the 9 Abyss Emperor didn't know his true goal for the Blood Sea water, or maybe he knew but had other intentions. No matter what, he had achieved his goal. Who cares if he really doesn't know or not? My strength is the most important. With the Blood Sea water, I can nurture my third body. Luo Feng was filled with glee. And he thought he would have to rely on the Primal Chaos City leader's favor to get the Blood Sea water. Who would have thought he would only be joining the Outer Circle? Many of the strongest humans have joined the Outer Circle. Luo Feng was all smiles. As my strength grows, with so many chances to receive the Beast God inheritance, I have complete confidence in completing the 5 levels. When that time comes, won't I still have to join? Candidate envoys, generals, and those who have received the full 5 levels of the Beast God inheritance, or higher, all had to join the Outer Circle of the Ancestral God sect. And no, Luo Feng was invited to join. Like Bud Emperor, Mirror Emperor, Luo Feng and the others with heavenly talents, like the Undying level, they could go up against a Universe Knight. Once they step into the realm of a Universe Knight, they would have the power of a Universe Tyrant. Just a little bit more and they would have the strength of a Universe Lord. Such heavenly geniuses, the Ancestral God sect would snatch them early. After all, these absolute geniuses, the moment they fail in the Beast God path, they might not come to Purple Thorn Island. If they walked the time-space path, they could still succeed. Hence they were invited to join. This was to prevent future absolute warriors from escaping just like that. I'll definitely succeed on the Beast God path. Luo Feng thought. If I want to join in the future, it doesn't matter if I join now. With this, I'll be able to escape. Ha ha ha. Luo Feng didn't expect that he would end up becoming one of the subordinates of the 9 Abyss Emperor. It was easy to talk to his own people. The 9 Abyss Emperor didn't make things difficult for him either. Ha ha ha, this feels good, this feels good. Luo Feng got more excited the more he thought about it. Congratulations Master, congratulations Master. Sky Formation Emperor bowed respectfully within the palace. HM. Luo Feng waved his hand and summoned the world ring that was with Sky Formation Emperor. Simultaneously he sat cross-legged and the Moshe clansman brought the Blood Ocean water into his internal world. Core, within the internal world. Awaru. The golden-horned beast that spanned over 1,000 kilometers raised its head and let out an excited roar. Its voice rumbled like thunder, spreading out. There are a total of 9 world trees, and there are a total of 108 princes under the Lord of Tartarus. If we include the Lord of Tartarus, There are 109 of them. The Moshe clan's clone stood in mid-air and looked in front of it. There was a huge pool of blood floating in the air, and a bloody stench spread out. 109. The Lord of Tartarus is so powerful, I don't believe that every prince's level of life is so ridiculous. Double quote. Yes, it must be done. The Moshe clone stared at the blood sea. Even though his logic told him that the chances of success were extremely high, Luo Feng wasn't sure of the prince's life level, plus he had failed once before, hence, he couldn't help but be nervous. The moment that decides our fate. The Moshe clansman and the golden horned beast calmed down, looking at the basin-sized blood. Whoosh! With the help of the world energy in his inner world, the sea of blood soared up into the sky and flew to the distant sky. The entire world was silent. After a long time, the sea of blood flew to the center of the inner world's core. Natural ability, clone, nurture. Luo Feng's willpower controlled the entire internal world. With the last activation of the spawn doppelganger technique, which could only be used 3 times in a lifetime, the entire inner world rumbled and trembled. Endless world energy frantically surged towards the sea of blood at the core of the entire world. The sea of blood instantly dissipated like mist, leaving behind only the most basic life substance wrapped by the endless world energy. A golden ball appeared high up in the sky. It must be done. Luo Feng sat cross-legged within the shrine, along with the Moshe clansman and golden horned beast watching from within the internal world. They were all nervous. Because the last time, they failed right at the start. Actually back then when Luo Feng chose to swallow metals to evolve his internal world, it allowed his internal world to reach its maximum size. One world's diameter was close to 100 million kilometers. Hence the limit of the clones that Luo Feng's internal world could nurture was extremely high. However, the life level of the world tree from before still exceeded the limits of the internal world. And this time, the nurturing of the clone had already begun. Luo Feng's consciousness was constantly sensing everything. In just a short while. Success, all the life forms have been analyzed and the true nurturing has begun. Luo Feng's consciousness swiftly sensed this. Ha ha ha, the Moshe clansman laughed loudly. The third clone is destined to be the Blood Ocean 9 hell. In the future, I'll have an endless source of God energy. Even if I fall, I'll be able to revive. That's what it means to not die. Double quote. Howl the golden horned beast let out an excited roar. Awesome, awesome. Luo Feng, who was sitting cross-legged in the palace, stood up and laughed loudly. He grabbed Sky Formation Emperor beside him and said, Sky Formation, drink with me. He even summoned a few of his peak Emperor servants and drank to his heart's content. It was a great feeling. As the nurturing of the clone began, Luo Feng's consciousness sensed that the nurturing of the third clone would take over 600 years. The stronger the internal world, the easier it was to nurture. The stronger the life form, the longer it would take. The Earth human body took over a year to nurture. The Moshe clansman took 3 years and 9 months to nurture. The Blood Ocean 9 hell body, however, took over 600 years. If Luo Feng didn't choose to swallow metals to nurture his internal world, and instead used a normal golden horned beast sector lord level 9 internal world to nurture, it would probably take over 10,000 years. Taking over 600 years to nurture is within my expectations, after all it's a special life form. Luo Feng, however, was elated. Before, to search for the third clone, he had risked his lifetime and time again and thought of all sorts of methods. Now that the nurturing had begun, it was much easier. All he had to do was focus and train. Wasn't it just 600 years? Training would pass very quickly. When that time comes, the third clone would be formed. To the ancestral God sect. These 600 years, I'll have to study and comprehend it well. Stepping into the undying level isn't difficult for me, However, stepping into the universe night level is rather difficult. Luo Feng was very clear on this. His own space laws had only truly comprehended the teleportation aspect. Even though he had some comprehension of the space strangulation and space lock, he was still far from fully comprehending them. Once he comprehended the three aspects, and when he fused the three into one, that would be the true and complete space laws. Who knew how many absolute geniuses had comprehended all three, only to not be able to take the final step? Like True Yan Emperor back then, Bud Emperor, Bark Mirror Emperor etc., all of them were like that. Luo Feng didn't dare get careless. The more I accumulate, the better it will be for my breakthroughs. Also, since I've comprehended the third part, then the star map and the third part of the bright moon strategy should be created too. Luo Feng organized his thoughts and realized that there were indeed many things he had to do. After drinking to his heart's content, Luo Feng reported to the Primal Chaos City leader. The leader knew that Luo Feng didn't even owe him a favor, and even began nurturing the third clone. He was overjoyed. He even said, "Haha, those powerful universe lords that have close ties with the ancestral god sect, even though they are the leaders of the outer groups, they are still the outer groups. This 9 underworld has lived for too long, competing with those old bastards has become his entertainment." Luo Feng, work hard. Since the ancestral god sect values you so much, and that Bud Emperor has acquired 2 treasures, it would be a waste not to take the benefits from the ancestral god sect. When the time comes, don't be merciful. Yes, teacher. Luo Feng replied. That day, Luo Feng's earth body left the primal region, teleporting through the god country and arriving at the ancestral god sect's Bohinia Island. After returning to Bohinia Island, Luo Feng first met with his teacher True Yan Emperor, along with Thousand Rain Emperor, Charmin Emperor, Li Shuo Emperor and a few other friends. Very quickly, news spread throughout the island: Blade River Emperor has returned. Blade River Emperor has returned from the 9 underworld space. Did Blade River Emperor's treasures land in the 9 underworld whirlpool's core area? He definitely left them there. Even universe supremacies would find it hard to return alive from that place. This Blade River Emperor must have relied on his natural body technique to revive just like before when he was assassinated. But I can't see his Sector Lord energy. Right, I saw Blade River Emperor too, but I couldn't sense his Sector Lord energy. From what I see, Blade River Emperor's treasures might still be there. How can that be? Even a knight wouldn't be able to survive there. From what I see, it's either Blade River Emperor has stepped into Undying, or he has a new treasure. New treasure? The human race is the pinnacle race. Some of the weaker treasures, even though normal races would covet them, the pinnacle races have plenty of them. The news spread like wildfire in the Plaza of Glory world, reaching Bark Mirror Emperor's ears. Within the mansion, Bark Mirror Emperor's body had long since recovered. His gaze was even colder. He was born with a cold and cruel personality, and this time, he fell into the hands of True Yan. Naturally he was filled with rage. He didn't reveal his Sector Lord energy. Does he step into Undying? Or a new treasure? Bark Mirror Emperor gritted his teeth. If he steps into Undying, then I'll kill him head on. I'm a powerful and noble special life form. If there's a treasure, I'll snatch it. Blade River Emperor, True Yan. Just you wait. Despite all the rumors flying around, Luo Feng was still as steady as a mountain. Other than the initial gathering with his teacher and friends, Luo Feng had been in his own mansion for a long period of training. Chapter 1015 Swallowed Star. Ever since Luo Feng returned from the 9 underworld space to train, 500 years had passed. Ancestral God Sect, Treasure Trove Grounds. The mountain range was endless, one couldn't see the end of it. The mountain peaks were either majestic or precipitous, Between the peaks were lakes of various sizes. It's been a long time since a new treasure trove has appeared. It's been said that the treasure trove grounds have countless treasures hidden within. A foreign race was entrenched there, his snake tail casually sweeping about, scraping the mountain rocks clean. Treasures frequently appear? That'll be bad. No matter how many treasures you have, they'll all be used up over time. Double quote. If the treasures don't appear, it'll be boring. When the treasures appear, that scene is really shocking. The snake-tail foreign race's triangular eyes were filled with anticipation. I can't wait for that scene to appear for me. Haha, you've been to the treasure trove tens of thousands of times, give up. Suddenly. It's the Blade River Emperor. The Blade River Emperor is here. The Blade River Emperor disappeared soon after returning from the 9 Underworld space back then. He hasn't appeared for so many years. The moment he does, he's actually at the treasure trove grounds. Where is he? Where's the Blade River Emperor? Double quote. Many of the inheritors looked around from afar. Some even soared into the sky to observe from afar. Soon, they locked onto a certain direction. A silver-armored human youth was flying through the air, heading straight for the tallest mountain peak in the treasure trove grounds. Luo Feng looked around, laughing to himself. Looks like I've become one of the main inheritors of the ancestral god sect. Regarding this, Luo Feng could only laugh within. These 500 years, his improvement in training wasn't small. Especially feeling the third body growing and maturing, naturally he was in a good mood. I estimate that in another 100 years or so, the third body will be formed. When that happens, I'll probably break through to Undying. Before that, I'll have to come to the treasure trove grounds to take a look. Luo Feng's gaze swept across the countless treasures in the vast mountain range. Right, no, I'm a sector lord. There might be some absolute beings that specially prepared treasures for the sector lord inheritors. If I break through to Undying, I won't be able to obtain any of the treasures prepared for sector lords. Su. Luo Feng's first target was the highest mountain peak. This was because the 108 highest mountains in the entire treasure trove contained the 108 most precious treasures. Only 42 of them had been obtained by inheritors in history, and the rest were still waiting for the fated ones. Look, Blade River King went to the highest peak. It seems like the Blade River King came to the treasure ground to obtain the treasures. I was still thinking that although the Blade River King came here once, he left after fighting with Venerable Beishan and didn't take a good look at the treasure ground. I thought he didn't have any thoughts about the treasure ground, but he finally came. The 108 highest peaks of the treasure trove contain the 108 most precious treasures. This time, he's going to the highest peak. This super genius whose name shakes the universe is truly ambitious. Horizontal ellipsis. In the distance, amongst the foreign races, there were a few that were jealous and even hated Luo Feng. HMPH. A cold snort came from the hunchbacked figure standing at the top of one of the mountain peaks. He had a golden mane and golden eyes, but his back was arched, as if he was a wild beast ready to pounce at any moment. Barking Mirror Emperor, do you think the Blade River King will be able to obtain the treasures? He's heading straight for the highest peak. Beside, a few other inheritors said. Barking Mirror Emperor looked coldly and sneered. The treasure trove at the highest peak has existed since the ancestral god sect opened this treasure ground. It's said that one of the ancestral gods personally placed it there. After so many years, there have been sector lord level special life forms, but none have been able to open the treasure trove. As for the Blade River King, he's still far from being able to meet the requirements to open the treasure trove. Double quote. The inheritors at the side nodded in agreement. Barking Mirror Emperor. A voice resounded, a majestic silhouette flew over. Barking Mirror Emperor looked over, it was the Beishan Knight. Beishan Knight's one eye glanced at the distant Luo Feng and said, "This Blade River King has disappeared for so many years, suddenly coming to this treasure trove, Looks like his desire to obtain the treasures is very strong. From what I see, he probably wasted his efforts. Double quote. Scram. Barking Mirror Emperor suddenly shouted coldly. The Beishan Knight's one eye stared wide-eyed, his face filled with shock. HMPH, you have some conflict with the Blade River King, I have a grudge with him, you think you can get close to me? You one eye, you even bullied the undying inheritors of my North Border Alliance, scram, I can't be bothered with you. Barking Mirror Emperor bared his fangs, his golden eyes staring coldly at the Beishan Knight. The Beishan Knight was so angry his body was trembling. He was a great knight, he had long heard that Barking Mirror Emperor was vicious, greedy and hard to get close to. Hence he had never intentionally interacted with him, and this Barking Mirror Emperor obviously had a grudge with the Blade River King. He too had some conflict with him. From what he saw, they both had a common goal. They should be able to get close. Being friends with Barking Mirror Emperor was something he was extremely willing to do. Barking Mirror Emperor's current strength wasn't any weaker than his, and the moment he became a knight, he just needed to train a little more and he would quickly become a universe overlord level being. Good, good, good. The Beishan Knight was so angry he was trembling, his face was twitching. Barking Mirror Emperor, you sure are vicious. The Beishan Knight gritted his teeth, after which he roared angrily and flew away. Barking Mirror Emperor looked at the scene and laughed. What kind of thing is that? The few inheritors beside exchanged glances, shocked within. Like Barking Mirror Emperor and Chasing Bug Emperor, they didn't even give the other knights any face. Because they had the power. Of course there were differences between the universe knights, like the overlords of the universe beings, they could easily trample on Barking Mirror Emperor and the others. Barking Mirror Emperor and Chasing Bug Emperor, even if they became universe knights, they would still have to train hard before they could reach the level of an overlord. However, without a doubt, these life forms that were thousands of times stronger than normal life forms, they were all seedlings for the overlord level. Hence, the North Border Alliance, Ancestral God Sect and the other absolute powers of the universe, all placed great importance on these life forms, even giving them treasures. Luo Feng didn't notice the battle between Barking Mirror Emperor and the Beishan Knight. He landed on the highest peak. The highest peak also represents the strongest treasure. It's said that the ancestor god personally placed the treasure there. Luo Feng stood on the peak and walked one round, however, he didn't cause any commotion. According to the normal rules, as long as one was on a certain peak, if the conditions were met, then the treasure would automatically open. Obviously Luo Feng didn't cause any changes in the highest peak, meaning he failed. This scene immediately caused many inheritors to discuss, especially Barking Mirror Emperor. He revealed a rare smile. Blade River Emperor, there's over a 90% chance it's Luo Feng. And Luo Feng and Tru Yan, their disciple and teacher. Barking Mirror Emperor snorted coldly as he stared at Luo Feng. Even though he chased after Luo Feng back then, he didn't hate him at first. However, being killed by Tru Yan was simply too tragic. Ever since he was born, he had never been so close to death. Barking Mirror Emperor was furious. He hated Tru Yan to the bone. He swore that the moment he became a universe knight, he would be the first to kill Tru Yan. And Blade River Emperor was very likely Tru Yan's disciple, plus Tru Yan killing him was probably revenge for Blade River Emperor. Hence Barking Mirror Emperor was angry at Blade River Emperor. Tru Yan. Blade River. Barking Mirror Emperor muttered these two names. Barking Mirror Emperor, that Blade River Emperor failed. He went to the second highest peak. Along the way he went to the other peaks and lakes. There's no reaction at all. He's reached the second highest peak. Haha, no reaction at all. The inheritors at the side said. Barking Mirror Emperor's smile grew wider. How can the treasure be so easily opened? These 108 highest treasures are what the ancestral God sect uses to attract the inheritors. From the beginning of the universe till now, only 42 have been opened. On average they only open once in a very long time. The conditions are extremely harsh. Double quote. Peak after peak, lake after lake. Luo Feng continuously flew and landed, flying and landing. Failure. 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 A series of failures, from the first peak to the 60th peak, and even going to many other places along the way. It took him a total of 10 hours. However, to an undying, 10 hours was just the time to drink a glass of wine. Opening the treasure trove is really hard. Luo Feng was relaxed. This time he came with the thought that it would be a waste not to take it. No matter what, he had to give it a try. There seems to be quite a few aliens that hate me. Luo Feng flew towards a distant canyon, scanning the area. During these 10 hours, he was often surrounded by spectators. A majority of the inheritors were just watching the show. Some were either jealous or resentful. These resentments weren't actually directed at Luo Feng, but more towards the human race. As the human race was the pinnacle race, there were many massacres in the universe. The aliens, kill. They didn't show any mercy when killing the aliens. With generations of hatred accumulating, there were indeed many aliens that hated the humans. Which pinnacle race didn't kill their way out? Being merciful and merciful, there's no way to become an elite race. To become an elite race, one has to steal resources, and to steal resources, one has to kill. This was something Tru Yan once said to Luo Feng while drinking. Luo Feng strolled around the treasure trove. Along the way there were aliens flying beside him and cursing at the human race. Luo Feng only laughed coldly. Those that weren't of the same race had different intentions. They were all fighting for their own race. There was no right or wrong. Humans wanted to live on Earth and control more resources, hence they had to kill large amounts of other animals, even enslaving them. If the humans weren't vicious enough, the other animals would kill large amounts of humans and capture a small number of humans to enslave. The logic was the same. This is the universe, the strong eat the weak. Luo Feng's heart was extremely firm. Why would he care about all this? Just as he was strolling, Luo Feng finally reached the 106th highest peak. He didn't have much hope. However, the moment Luo Feng landed on the 106-meter-tall mountain peak, the entire mountain began to tremble, attracting countless inheritors to look over, following which the entire treasure trove erupted. Chapter 1016 Swallowed Star. Luo Feng had just landed on the mountain peak. Before he even moved, he felt the entire mountain tremble. He couldn't help but be stunned. The treasure trove has been opened. The entire mountain was trembling, and the trembling was getting stronger and stronger. Treasure trove. The treasure trove is about to open. It's about to open. In the distance, the inheritors who were either chatting or searching for treasures all rose into the air and looked over. In an instant, in all directions, there were silhouettes of the various races of the universe. And Bark Mirror Emperor too flew up. How can this be? Bark Mirror Emperor's golden eyes stared wide. With one look he saw the distant 7 inheritors standing on the mountain peak and Luo Feng, immediately saying, "It must be one of the other 6. It must be." He hated that Blade River Emperor from the bottom of his heart. He wasn't willing to accept the fact that he had acquired the treasure trove. Also, this was the 106th highest mountain peak. Even though it was 106th, it was still one of the legendary 108 great treasure troves. Any one of them had value comparable to a treasure. Even at the bottom, it should still be comparable to a normal treasure. And he, Bark Mirror Emperor, only had one normal treasure. Naturally he didn't believe the Blade River Emperor could acquire it. Things didn't go according to Bark Mirror Emperor's wishes. Treasure trove, it's a treasure trove. The mountain peak is shaking. The treasure trove is definitely about to open. On the mountain peak, the other inheritors were all excited, because they too were on the mountain peak. It must be me, I touched that tree earlier. No, it's me, I must have suddenly touched the treasure trove's condition. These inheritors were all excited and nervous, even though they all saw Blade River Emperor's arrival that caused the trembling. They were still on the mountain peak. Who knows, maybe it was one of them. As long as there was hope, they wouldn't give up. After all, this was one of the 108 treasures. Hua hua hua. The 5-colored light lake above the treasure trove, right above the mountain peak, suddenly thousands of lights began to revolve, like a whirlpool. Xiu. 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 Suddenly, thousands of aurora lights fell from the sky. Each of them was tens of thousands of kilometers long and had 5 different colors. They were like countless meteors falling from the sky. In just a moment, the thousands of aurora lights had completely enveloped the mountain, like a curtain of beads, surrounding the mountain. It was magnificent. This magnificent scene made countless inheritors' eyes red with excitement. The pressure contained within those thousands of aurora lights was inconceivable. One had to know that just a few aurora lights could slaughter a universe paragon. How powerful were these thousands of aurora lights? After all, it was the protected treasure of the number one force in the universe, the strongest treasure of the universe. This title was no joke. It's mine. The treasure is mine. The entire mountain peak was enveloped by thousands of auroras. The inheritors on the peak and the waist of the mountain were all within the range of the auroras. But immediately after, waves of energy swept over them and teleported them away. No. Don't. It's mine. The outsider heirs weren't willing to accept this. Horizontal ellipsis. Who triggered the treasure? It's definitely the Blade River King. I saw him descend on that mountain peak. One figure after another, some large, some small, some covered in scales, some transparent like liquid. All sorts of outsider life forms were kicked out of the lake. Who triggered the treasure? They were all kicked out. How many of us are out? It's the Blade River King. Only the Blade River King didn't come out. Although the group of inheritors were unwilling to accept this, they quickly checked and confirmed that the Blade River King didn't come out. And those watching from afar were actually looking for the Blade River King amongst the inheritors that were kicked out. The moment they found him, they immediately knew that the Blade River King was the one who triggered the treasure. HMPH. Bark Mirror King gritted his teeth, revealing his fangs as he watched the scene unfold in anger and unwillingness. However, what could he do? The few inheritors beside him glanced at each other, not daring to speak. They all knew that Bark Mirror Emperor was definitely furious at this time. Idiot, a stupid, crazy beast without any intelligence. Venerable Bei Shan looked at Bark Mirror Monarch from afar and cursed in his heart. Ferocious beasts were the universe's most powerful and intelligent life forms. XXXXX. Everything that happened outside, Luo Feng couldn't see, but he could guess. I'm the one who obtained the treasure. Luo Feng felt the mountain beneath him tremble. He couldn't help but smile. As for the treasure location, the scene of the treasure being triggered, he had long heard of it. A few absolute beings of the ancestral god sect hid the treasure in the treasure location, after which they confirmed the conditions to activate it. These conditions were controlled by the 5-color lake. The 5-colored Aurora Lake was constantly monitoring the area it covered. It was recording the inheritors' every move. Just like when Luo Feng was assassinated and revived, he obviously had the energy of a sector lord. The 5-colored light lake would immediately record the sector lords, geniuses etc. All these information would be collected, the moment it matched a treasure. When Luo Feng reached the location of the treasure, the 5-colored light lake would automatically control the treasure to appear. Only to keep it a secret. It would lock down the area. Other than the person who placed the treasure, The person who activated the treasure and the five-color lake, no one would know what the treasure was. Just like how the seven-blade emperors obtained the treasure back then, the outside world had always been guessing. As long as the seven-blade emperors didn't reveal it, naturally no one would know. The mountain shook. Simultaneously a huge rock rose from the peak. Luo Feng stared carefully. The huge rock was about 300 meters tall, however it slowly rose and flew up, completely floating above the mountain peak. Just what treasure is it? Luo Feng stared at the gigantic hole in the mountain peak after the huge rock flew up. The pitch-black hole was completely silent. After a while, a black ring slowly flew up and turned towards Luo Feng, floating in front of Luo Feng. Luo Feng took a deep breath and hoping for a treasure suitable for him. He immediately extended his hand and received the ring. This was an ownerless ring. Luo Feng easily imprinted his spirit imprint within. Not a bad world ring. It's comparable to the best world ring I bought. Wearing it, even if I receive an attack from a universe lord, as long as I don't purposely attack it, the world ring won't be damaged. Luo Feng nodded within. The ring itself was very sturdy, however it was easy to break through, directly destroying the world within from the inside. As for the outside, it depended on the materials used. Just what is it? Luo Feng's spirit energy seeped in and began to investigate. Within the world ring's world, there was only one item. An ancient ship. 120 kilometers long, 30,000 kilometers wide. Its entire body glowed with silver light. Its structure was like a ship in the ocean, not a universe ship. This is. Luo Feng sent a thread of spirit energy into the ship. A thread of spirit imprint entered and immediately large amounts of information surged into his mind, causing him to reveal a look of glee and joy. Luo Feng extended his hand. Su. A silver light flew out and landed in his palm, a date-seed-sized ancient ship. It's actually a flying palace-type treasure. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, unable to hide his excitement as he looked at the ship. It's just an absolute treasure, yet it's judged to be comparable to a treasure. No wonder. This is a flying palace-type treasure. As long as I take it out, there'll definitely be warriors willing to exchange for it. Luo Feng already knew the information within the ship. This ancient ship was originally known as the Silver Dragon Phantom Ship. It was a top-grade treasure, and its function was somewhat similar to the Heavenly Wolf Hall. As long as one was within the Silver Dragon Phantom Ship, unless the enemy broke through the hull of the ship, their material attacks would be weakened to the point that they were practically useless. Even soul attacks would be greatly weakened. Back when Luo Feng was being chased by Bark Mirror Emperor, if he had this ship and hid within it, Bark Mirror Emperor wouldn't be able to hurt him at all. Luo Feng would be able to rely on this ship to swiftly escape, leaving Bark Mirror Emperor far behind. Just like the Sky Wolf Lord back in the 9 Underworld space, facing the terrifying attack of the 9 Underworld Emperor that burned the entire 9 Underworld Ocean, he relied on the Sky Wolf Palace to barely escape. The armor and other defensive armors are all close to the body. The enemy's material attacks or soul attacks can only weaken a little. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. This Silver Dragon Phantom Ship is huge. Within it, it's like I'm in a huge castle. This is even better than the automaton race's most expensive god base. Its defense was strong. And this Silver Dragon Phantom Ship, in terms of agility and direction, it might be weak, but in a straight line of escape, it was extremely fast. Haha, this is an absolute treasure. The Universe Knights definitely won't be able to destroy it. Even the Universe Lords would have to spend a lot of energy to destroy an absolute treasure. Luo Feng was very happy. Within the Silver Dragon Phantom Ship, along with his Pagoda Pearl protecting his soul, the moment he stepped into the Undying level. Luo Feng couldn't help but smile. Of course treasures required sufficient strength to operate. If one was weak, The speed of the ship wouldn't be fast enough, it would probably be taken away by the absolute warriors instead. Once I step into the undying level, I'll be able to directly use the Silver Dragon Phantom ship. Luo Feng nodded to himself. When my strength grows stronger in the future, when I have the ability to operate the Star Pagoda, my trump card will be the Star Pagoda. This Silver Dragon Phantom ship will only be a transportation tool on the surface. Silver Dragon Phantom ship, it sounds awkward, I'll call it Milky Way. Luo Feng looked at the silver lights on the ship, almost like he was looking at the countless stars in the Milky Way. He immediately came up with this name. Even though treasures had names, most of them were awkward. Like the Purple Bell, its original name was the Demon Note Fire God Bell. Luo Feng just called it the Purple Bell. This Silver Dragon Phantom ship too, Luo Feng just called it Milky Way. Ancient ship Milky Way, before I truly activate the Star Pagoda, you'll have to accompany me. Luo Feng looked at the ancient ship in his palm, thinking within. Chapter 1017 Swallowed Star. Luo Feng flipped his hand and the ancient ship Milky Way fused into his skin. My universe ships were all obtained from some of the titled emperors. I felt that they were still lacking. My original plan was to break through to undying level and get a better universe ship. However, from the looks of it, this treasure-comparable ancient ship Milky Way is much better than any ship the humans or automaton race have built. Luo Feng was extremely excited. Xiu. A swiftly shrinking aurora suddenly flew over, scaring Luo Feng. Back then, the universe knight that tried to assassinate him was easily killed by these aurora lights. Luo Feng wanted to dodge. However, the space around him seemed to have frozen, making it hard for him to move. The aurora, however, was as fast as lightning. One end gently touched Luo Feng's head. Luo Feng stood stunned in place. Rumble. The boulder that was originally floating in the air suddenly fell into the hole and returned to its original appearance of the mountain peak. And the thousands of aurora lights that surrounded the entire mountain peak, Xiu. 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 All of them soared into the sky and quickly flew back to the vast five-colored aurora lake. Look, that Blade River Emperor seems to be in a daze. It's definitely because he's too surprised. That's one of the 108 treasures, and he got it just like that. These 108 treasures are one less every time they are taken away. Who knows when a new treasure will be placed in there? What do you guys think that Blade River Emperor got? Is it some valuable materials? Defense treasure? Attack treasure? A treasure to recover the divine body? In the distance, the countless inheritors who were watching Luo Feng acquire the treasure were all curious and guessing. However, none of them were able to see it. Luo Feng scanned the distant surroundings and with a teleportation, he immediately teleported to the distant valley where the treasure was. Within the valley, it was extremely silent. Luo Feng was alone here, muttering, "Wine Lord." When the aurora touched his head earlier, it transmitted some information. It was actually a message left behind by the person who placed the treasure for the future inheritors of the treasure. A dissolute voice was saying something. I don't have a clan. Since the birth of the universe, I have been alone. My true best friend is Paragon Minghe. However, that Minghe had an extraordinary encounter. I don't know who to give the treasures that I don't use to. Since the ancestral god cult suddenly created such a treasure trove, I'll leave the Silver Dragon Phantom ship to the later generations. World Overlord, able to win over 1,000 battles, and you have at least reached the peak of the 3rd level of the Beast God inheritance. Even I feel that you are a rare genius. Remember, the one who gave you the treasure is the Wine Master, hahaha. It was a simple message. Luo Feng immediately understood. The one who left the treasure trove was a Universe Lord, only his title was a little weird. Wine Lord? Wine, as a title? Luo Feng was puzzled. immediately connecting his consciousness to the virtual universe. Right now, his authority was indeed very high. He could investigate many of the universe's secrets. Horizontal ellipsis. Virtual universe. At his desk, Luo Feng looked at his laptop screen, swiftly searching for the Wine Lord. Whoosh! An entry appeared on the screen. That was the only entry. HM. Luo Feng opened it. Wine Lord, natural-born beast god, wind and time beast god. A unique life form in the universe. Born as a beast god, he named himself Chengfeng. He loved to drink and was obsessed with it. The absolute warriors of the universe gave him the title of Wine. He was one of the early 8 great beast gods of the ancestral god cult. He has already fallen. Ah! Luo Feng looked at this simple message and revealed a look of shock. This Wine Lord was actually a natural-born beast god. Beast gods were also split into natural and acquired beast gods. Those that relied on training and finally comprehended the entire path of the beast god and inherited the position of a beast god. Those were normal beast gods. And when the universe was born, it birthed some natural-born universe lords. Their bodies were formed from the fusion of the origin laws and the beast gods. He's fallen. Luo Feng's ears seemed to resound with that unrestrained voice. Remember, the one who gave you the treasure is the Wine Lord, ha ha ha. Such an absolute warrior has fallen. Luo Feng exclaimed within. A natural-born beast god who loved wine. Luo Feng could even close his eyes and imagine, a natural-born beast god standing on an ancient ship and carrying a huge wine flask. Love wine, Luo Feng sighed softly. You left me a treasure. If I have the chance, I'll definitely repay it. A natural-born beast god who loved wine. He was the Wine Lord and named himself Chengfeng. Even though Luo Feng had never seen him before, he had a good impression of the already fallen Wine Lord. It was a pity that when the universe was born, this natural-born beast god was born. He was probably even older than the primal Chaos City leader and the creator of the huge axe. One of the earliest 8 great beast gods of the ancestral god cult. Too much time had passed and he had fallen long ago. Even as strong as the universe lord, there's still a chance of him falling. Luo Feng thought. Just like the strongest in the universe, if they were to pay the price to kill a universe lord, most of the universe lords wouldn't even be able to escape. Unless it's like the 9 underworld leader or the primal Chaos City leader who had heaven-defying methods. Double quote. The primal Chaos City leader was already invincible in the primal universe. The 9 underworld leader was already invincible in the 9 underworld ocean. Luo Feng couldn't help but rejoice over his third body's choice. Luo Feng was in a remote valley within the treasure land. After sighing about the fall of the Wine Lord, he was quickly discovered by a few inheritors. However, Luo Feng was very calm. He continued to stroll around the treasure land. He had to stroll through the entire treasure land. Who knows, he might even find more. Anyway, most of his consciousness was in the virtual universe training. This treasure hunt didn't require too much effort. Half an hour after Luo Feng acquired the ancient ship Milky Way, while he was strolling around the treasure land. Knife River. Knife River. A silhouette flew over. Luo Feng looked up. It was Qiu Rain Emperor. Qiu Rain Emperor. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Congratulations, the moment I entered Glory World, I heard you acquired treasure, and it's one of the 108. Qiu Rain Emperor said excitedly. Congratulations. It's all right. Luo Feng smiled. Where's Emperor Charman and the rest? Tru Yan has prepared a celebration feast for you. Emperor Charman and the rest are all there. Tru Yan ordered me to come personally to invite you. Qiu Rain Emperor smiled. The knight said that acquiring one of the 108 treasures of the ancestral god sect will be known for trillions of years. It has to be celebrated, and it has to be more formal. Hence, I was ordered to fly over to invite you. Luo Feng was shocked. after which he couldn't help but laugh. His teacher had actually prepared a celebration feast. I was planning to continue strolling. Luo Feng looked at the treasure land around him. Looks like I'll have to come back later. Stroll for what? Qiu Rain Emperor asked curiously. What's there to stroll about? Knife River, didn't you acquire the treasure? Who knows, I might be able to activate the second treasure. Luo Feng said. How can that be, only activating the first treasure? There's no way to activate the second treasure. Qiu Rain Emperor said. This is a rule that has been formed ever since the ancestral god sect opened the treasure land. Ah, Luo Feng blinked. Even though he had asked Emperor Charman and the rest about the information regarding the treasure land, he had only asked about the triggering situation etc. He didn't ask if he could activate the second treasure. Let's go, I won't lie to you. Qiu Rain Emperor said. Luckily you only strolled for a while. If you foolishly strolled for too long, I'm afraid many of the other inheritors would guess that you're trying to activate more treasures. You'd definitely become a laughing stock among the other inheritors. Luo Feng looked around. In the distance, the inheritors were still immersed in the shock of the treasure being discovered half an hour ago. After all, since the birth of the universe, out of the 108 treasures, only 42 had been discovered. Today, another one was discovered. The inheritors were all conversing, occasionally looking at Luo Feng. However, their gazes were mostly filled with envy and jealousy. Other than a few of the other races that had enmity with the humans, no one else revealed a greedy expression. Strength and status, matched with the treasures. A star traveler punk, if he were to acquire a treasure, that would be courting death. Even a sector lord, back when the primal Chaos City leader gave Luo Feng the treasure Wu Killer Wings, he didn't want Luo Feng to reveal it, otherwise there would be trouble. However, it was different now. Luo Feng had experienced Bark Mirror Emperor's pursuit and Swamp Corrosion Knight's assassination. He had long proven his strength. No one wanted to risk their lives for the treasures on Luo Feng. After all, for an unknown treasure, it wasn't worth risking one's life. Back then when I first left Earth, I was very careful. Even an automaton ship brought disaster upon me. Luo Feng shook his head and laughed, sighing. Right now he had treasures on him, yet not many dared to make a move on him. Watching Luo Feng and Qiu Rain Emperor leave together, Bark Mirror Emperor's face twitched, revealing his fangs. The other inheritors beside him all understood. Bark Mirror Emperor was probably furious. Damn humans. Bark Mirror Emperor was filled with rage. I just relied on a bit of luck. When I find the chance, I'll definitely make you understand that one's own strength is the foundation. I don't believe there'll be another 9 underworld whirlpool for you next time. He hated True Yan, and hated Blade River Emperor. Right now however he saw Blade River Emperor acquire one of the 108 treasures. This feeling of dissatisfaction made Bark Mirror Emperor extremely uncomfortable. Bark Mirror Emperor. Beside, a foreign race member's green tongue flickered, making a sound. This Blade River Emperor is arrogant now, with such a huge reputation. However, he's only a sector lord. To be able to kill an emperor-level warrior, he definitely has to rely on some special powers from an external treasure. However, as one's strength gets higher, the use of the treasures gets smaller. Once he becomes an undying, those treasures will definitely be less useful to him. No matter what, he's just a human, his life form is very low. Once he becomes an undying, he'll be far from being able to compare with Bark Mirror Emperor, Bud Emperor and the other special life forms of the universe. Well said. Bark Mirror Emperor's eyes gleamed. He couldn't help but look at the foreign race member with satisfaction. He's just a human. Bark Mirror Emperor licked his fangs, looking at the distant direction Luo Feng disappeared in. How high can his life form be? Relying on treasures to run amok for a while, don't tell me he'll be able to run amok forever. even if he becomes an undying, just based on my life form being 1000 times higher than him, killing him would be as easy as destroying a star. Double quote. Chapter 1018 Swallowed Star. Bark Mirror Emperor was right, relying on treasures to dominate for a while, one wouldn't be able to dominate forever. Like the Star Pagoda, such a powerful treasure, just fully activating it required shocking power. Hence, without power, just having treasures wouldn't do. As for the Phemo Venom etc., in a Universe Night level battle, it had no value at all. Even the Golden Horned Beast's golden armor, if Bark Mirror Emperor burned his body and attacked with all his might, the golden armor would immediately explode. Hence the General Armor, Emperor Armor, Phemo Venom etc. that were extremely beneficial to Luo Feng before, some would be eliminated, others would have their uses greatly reduced. When Luo Feng, Tru Yan and the others finished their banquet, the Primal Chaos City leader however summoned Luo Feng. Virtual Universe Lightning Island Peak, before that majestic palace amidst the endless energy currents, the Primal Chaos City leader was gazing down at the island. Teacher. Luo Feng appeared in mid-air, bowing respectfully. The Primal Chaos City leader turned and looked at Luo Feng, his eyes as deep as the starry skies and ocean, smiling. You've acquired one of the 108 treasures. Yes, it's a flying palace-like top treasure. Luo Feng said, it's called the Silver Dragon Mirage Ship. Silver Dragon Mirage Ship? The Primal Chaos City leader pondered for a moment. He couldn't recall what treasure it was, however he still said, if it's a flying palace-type treasure, then you've struck gold. This type of treasure has always been rare and precious. A flying palace-type treasure, I'm afraid even more than the Wu Killer Wings I gave you, it'll make the Universe Knights crazily chase after it. Double quote. Luo Feng nodded, he knew this too. Who left the treasure? The Primal Chaos City leader asked. Wine leader. Luo Feng said, I've checked, he was one of the early 8 great beast gods of the ancestral god sect. Wine leader? Cheng Feng. The Primal Chaos City leader immediately laughed. I know, it's his wine ship, I didn't expect it to be in your hands now. This wine leader is a very interesting universe lord. As a natural beast god, his power is extremely strong, however natural beast gods are destined to be surrounded and hunted, hence, double quote. The Primal Chaos City leader shook his head and sighed. Luo Feng couldn't help but feel shocked within. Innate beast gods were destined to be hunted and attacked. This made Luo Feng recall the ancient pictures he saw back in Blood River World. Back then, there was indeed an absolute being that battled with the beast god of Blood River World. From the looks of it, the beast god eventually fell. Why are you being hunted? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. Chaos City Master looked at him and said calmly, innate beast gods are different from acquired beast gods. They are born from the essence of the universe. They are natural treasures. Their scales, their fur, their blood, all of them have miraculous effects. They are more precious than thousands of normal treasures. Killing an innate beast god is a feast for many powerful beings. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with shock. Fight. Fight for resources, fight for opportunities. The Primal Chaos City Master said, there are many ways to fight for points. Just like how the various races in the universe fought and schemed against each other for resources, this was a type of competition. For example, the ancestral god cult claims that they will not side with any faction and will not fight for territory. That's why they can be independent and not fight for territory. On the surface, they don't fight, but they are fighting on another level. Double quote. Luo Feng nodded. There was an ancient Chinese saying, if a man doesn't fight, then no one in the world can fight against him. However, to make no one in the world can fight against him, one needed an extremely strong foundation. Just like the ancestral god cult, because they had 3 great ancestral gods in charge, along with the fact that they didn't side with any faction and didn't fight for territory, They were able to reach a higher level of fighting. Through the inheritance tablet and other methods, they were able to absorb countless geniuses from the universe. And when the countless races knew that the ancestral god cult didn't fight, they were naturally willing to send their geniuses over, allowing the ancestral god cult's resources to nurture their own race's future. Just like that, the ancestral god cult became the #1 power in the universe. They are all fighting. The primal Chaos City Master exclaimed. Ever since the first innate beast god fell, letting the universe races know of its many miraculous effects, the other innate beast gods were destined to be surrounded and attacked. No matter how powerful they are, against the combined attacks of the pinnacle beings of the universe, unless they hide forever, falling is unavoidable. Just like the Blood River crystal you used, isn't it one of the treasures left behind by the innate beast god? The primal Chaos City Master looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng trembled. Indeed, the one that died in Blood River world was an innate beast god. Remember, the strong eat the weak. The primal Chaos City Master looked at Luo Feng. This is the law of the strong. There are trillions of races in the universe. To any other race, you are a foreign race, no one will show any pity. There will always be fights. Hence what you have to do is to constantly acquire resources to strengthen yourself. The stronger you are, the stronger your race will be. The true power of a race is formed by the highest level beings, every one of them is the pillar of the race. In the future, you have a high chance of becoming the pillar of the race. Luo Feng nodded. Speaking of the Blood River crystal, before you break through to Undying, remember to absorb it to its limit. The primal Chaos City Master instructed. This will also help you raise your life genetic level in the future. You are a black warrior, your life genetic level has a high chance of reaching 100 times that of a normal life in the universe. 100 times. Luo Feng was curious. As he trained in the 9 Calamity Manuals, his Earth body's life genetic level had already reached 48 times. If he were to use the Blood River energy, it would reach 480 times. It would be considered a relatively good special life in the universe. 100 times is the limit. The primal Chaos City Master nodded. My body's strength amplifier, 100 times is the limit. Soul amplifier, 100 times is the limit. Life genetic level, 100 times is also the limit. This is a part of the laws of the universe. Just like in the actual universe, the fastest flight speed is light speed, these are all ironclad rules. Luo Feng held his breath. Whether it was his body's strength amplifier or his soul spirit amplifier, they were all extremely rare. Just like the demon note inheritance Luo Feng had received, it was a soul spirit amplifier technique. Up till now, Luo Feng only had 32 times of amplification. As for his body's strength amplifier, Luo Feng didn't even have such luck. The limit is 100 times. Luo Feng muttered. Right. 100 times. However, his life genetic level, his Earth body was already 480 times, and the golden horned beast was over 1000 times. Life genetic level, there's no way to exceed the 100 times limit? Luo Feng asked. There is. The primal Chaos City Master nodded. What method? Luo Feng asked. Possession. The primal Chaos City Master said. Possession of a special life form, as long as one possesses the body of the special life form, only the soul will change. The natural abilities related to the soul may disappear, but the natural abilities related to the body and the life genetic level can be inherited. However, this is very difficult. The primal Chaos City Master explained. Firstly, an Undying's life imprint is infused into every cell. If one destroys the life imprint, it's equivalent to destroying the entire body. Hence the possession can only be done on those below the Undying level. Secondly, If I was a sector lord and wanted to possess a universe-level special life form, the primal Chaos City Master said, defeating it is easy, possession is hard. Even if I did, I'm a sector lord's soul, the burden on my body is huge. The moment my body can't handle it, it will still crumble. Double quote. Luo Feng nodded. Soul and body were compatible. Normal humans, Sector Lord level 9 human souls, their bodies had to at least reach Sector Lord level 7, otherwise, if the soul was too strong, it would cause the body to crumble. To find a special life form body that can carry the soul, however the moment it can, it means the special life form's power is very close to yours. Plus its natural abilities, it's not you hunting it, but it hunting you instead. The primal Chaos City Master explained. What's more, Sector Lord special life forms almost never leave the universe secret region. Even if you meet it, even if you can defeat it, the special life form might rather self-destruct than be possessed. Anyway, possession of a special life form, even though there are many benefits, it's very hard to succeed. The primal Chaos City Master said. There are very few in the universe that can do it. Luo Feng asked, are there any other ways? Like you have the natural ability to create clones, nurturing a special life form, isn't that enough? The primal Chaos City Master said. Of course the special life forms that can be nurtured are usually very weak special life forms. Luo Feng nodded. Yes. The World Tree had no way to nurture it himself. One had to know that he was the golden horned beast's internal world, and it was also a huge internal world formed from swallowing metal. The limit of the clones he could nurture was probably only a few hundred times his normal life form. Anyway, the many methods are usually done with the help of the special life forms. The primal Chaos City Master said. Are there any other methods? Luo Feng asked. What other methods would there be? The primal Chaos City Master shook his head. No. The primal Chaos City Master hesitated for a moment before saying, of course, there are trillions of races in the universe. There are also some absolute beings with secrets that have yet to be discovered. Maybe there are methods that even I don't know of. However, I can confirm that the laws of the universe are as such. It's fair. Even if there are some heavenly methods, the price would be extremely high. Double quote. Luo Feng nodded. Right, the 9 Calamities Manual was created by the universe's strongest warrior Mountain Guest. He spent countless amounts of effort and time to create it, and even used the priceless Sky Soul Crystal to carry it. Even so, only one life form could obtain the information and contents of the 9 Calamities Manual. The laws of the universe were extremely harsh, one could only imagine. Don't think so much, 100 times is the limit. The primal Chaos City Master smiled. To be able to reach 100 times, it's rare in the universe. Many knights only have life forms that are 10 times. And you are a black warrior, right now you can reach 10 times. After that, with the beast god blood, you'll be able to raise it even further. Double quote. Luo Feng nodded. He had originally planned to absorb the crystal before breaking through to Undying. That way, his god body would immediately reach an extremely strong level. Go. If you need the beast god blood, you can request for resources from the Virtual Universe Company. The primal Chaos City Master said. Yes. Luo Feng bowed respectfully and left. Primal region, within the palace. The Moshe clansmen sat cross-legged. Within the internal world the golden horned beast began to absorb the crystal again. Chapter 1019 Swallowed Star. Back then in the outer region battlefield, Luo Feng had once allowed the golden horned beast to absorb the crystals, causing the total number of crystals it had absorbed to reach 165. At that time, the 9 Calamity Manual had only just trained the first level, and Luo Feng hadn't gone through the Star Pagoda life and death inheritance, hence his willpower hadn't evolved yet. 166, 167, 168. The golden horned beast was like a mountain, lying there. And the earth body sat cross-legged on the back of the golden horned beast. As a space beast that was over 1,000 kilometers long, it was like a huge mountain range. Its back was extremely wide. The earth body sat on its back, almost like he was sitting on a huge scale plane. Chi. The earth body's wings flapped, easily cutting through the scales and creating a wound on the golden horned beast's back, after which he threw out the triangular crystal. Another one, and another one. The golden horned beast continued to absorb blood river crystal after blood river crystal. 196, 197, 198, Luo Feng sat there throwing the crystals, exclaiming within. That life and death inheritance from before, that torture of over 6,000 years of life and death experience had indeed caused his willpower to completely change. It had been close to 10,000 years since the last time he absorbed the crystals, and his improvement had obviously been huge. 200 crystals. As the 200th blood river crystal was absorbed into the golden horned beast's back, the blood river energy was activated on its back. The muscles, bones, scales and flesh on its back started to change. Its back bulged up, the muscles were like steel bars wrapping around it, the scales became dense and glaring gold. On the surface of the golden scales were blood-red threads, countless of them forming a heart-palpitating image of a beast god roaring. Powerful strength. Powerful strength. After training the first 5 levels of the 9 Calamity Manual, along with the fact that the golden horned beast's life genetic level was 10 times that of a normal life form, hence, after training the manual, the golden horned beast's life genetic level reached 480 times. Its back was originally 480 times, now that it activated the blood river energy, just like the right claw, it instantly reached its limit. Its back itself had increased by over 20 times. It was equivalent to 2 times before the entire body was activated. The right claw was the same, the moment it was activated, it was equivalent to 2 times before the entire body was activated. Continue absorbing. Maintain balance, choose the left claw. Horizontal ellipsis. The earth body stood on the vast grassland and looked at the huge claw before him. The scales on the claw had already been cut open and blood flowed out. Luo Feng threw the crystals over one by one. 226, 227, 228, 281, 282. This is quite an impact on my willpower. The earth deity frowned slightly. Absorbing a total of 282 crystals, the killing intent had already begun to affect his willpower. Using the number of blood river crystals to compare, I can easily feel my own improvement. My willpower has indeed improved greatly. Luo Feng's expression didn't change. Whether it was the killing aura rush or the pain from the blood river energy infusing, it wasn't much. Compared to the pain from the pearl infusing into his soul, it was much weaker. 299,300. His left claw was also fused to the limit. "Ao!" the golden horned beast excitedly called out, at the same time activating its front claws. The left and right claws immediately became a size thicker, the scales all became a dazzling gold. On the gold scales there were blood-colored threads forming the image of 2 beast god heads roaring. Stepping on the beast god image, the golden horned beast also felt the explosive increase in strength. "I feel like I can absorb a few more. Gathering them in one spot won't benefit much, I'll split them up. I'll absorb 10 from every spot." Luo Feng made his decision. Every time he absorbed one more, Luo Feng was filled with excitement and anticipation. Because this represented his strength, however, there was a limit to how much he could endure. Relying on his strong willpower, on the 381st crystal, Luo Feng finally couldn't take it anymore. The killing aura had exceeded his limits, causing him to howl in pain. finally failing. Right claw, left claw and back, each absorbed 100 crystals. Tail, back 2 claws, a pair of scaled wings, upper back, connected to the 2 claws and neck, head, these 7 areas, the head had absorbed 20 crystals, the rest had 10. A total of 80 crystals. The total number of crystals absorbed reached 380. Right claw, left claw and back, these 3 areas are equivalent to 2 times my entire body's strength before activating the blood river energy. More accurately, it's a little more. Double quote. And the other 7 areas are equivalent to 1 times my entire body's strength before activating the blood river energy. Then my total strength is over 6,000 times Sector Lord strength. Which means my life genetic level is over 6,000 times, close to 6,500 times. Luo Feng immediately calculated the approximate range. Ao Wu, the golden horned beast, raised its head and howled, simultaneously activating all the blood river energy in its body. This blood river energy had already filled every part of its body. With this activation, the genes of the entire body started to change, the structure of the body started to change, one could only hear the bones of the entire body letting out a bone-chilling sound. The entire golden horned beast seemed to instantly grow a size larger, the scales became a light gold, especially the front claws and back, they were a dazzling gold, these 3 areas were the thickest. Every single scale of the entire body was covered in blood-red threads, forming a beast-god diagram, some simple, some perfect and exquisite. This bloodline power made the golden horned beast incredibly powerful. To be precise, I feel it's 6,400 times. The golden horned beast made the most accurate judgment of its body. Before activating, it was 480 times. The moment it activated, it was already 6,400 times. Awaru 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 awaru. The golden horned beast raised its head and roared. Each roar was filled with excitement and excitement. Ha ha ha, more than 6,000 times. That Bud Emperor is known as the unique life form in the universe. That's 5,000 times. Bark Mirror Emperor's life genetic level is 2,000 times. In the entire universe, there are only a handful of its kind. And I am even stronger than Bud Emperor. More than 6,000 times. Double quote. Luo Feng looked up at the golden horned beast, his eyes filled with excitement. Exhilarating. Exhilarating. Its own life genetic level was able to suppress the unique life form Bud Emperor. To be able to surpass 5,000 times in terms of life genetic level, they are all extraordinary. I'm one of them. According to the amount of blood river crystals absorbed, each spot would at most absorb 100 crystals. That means my entire body would at most absorb 1,000 crystals. When that time comes, my life genetic level should be about 10,000 times. Luo Feng guessed and came up with a conclusion. 10,000 times. The unique life forms in the universe would normally reach a few thousand times or even 10,000 times. If the trillions of normal life forms were to raise their genetic level, 100 times would be the limit. And this 10,000 times was obviously the limit of the countless unique life forms. After venting his excitement for a while, the golden horned beast is indeed one of my greatest killers. Its life genetic level is high, and it's over 1,000 kilometers long. Even if it burns its god body, it would take a very long time. Luo Feng thought. A 1,000 kilometer long golden horned beast, compared to a 2-meter tall human, had much more god energy. High level of life form. And its size was huge. How powerful was that? My earth body will also try absorbing the crystals. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation. The earth body was different from the golden horned beast. The golden horned beast's body was huge, hence it had to be split into 10 spots to absorb. However, the earth body was far from the size of a claw of the golden horned beast. Hence, the Earth body could only absorb a maximum of 100 crystals. Back then, when I trained in the second level of the 9-level manual, my life genetic level reached 6 times. At that time, I successfully absorbed the 10th crystal. Now that I've trained in the 5th level, my life genetic level is 48 times. I wonder how many I can absorb. Without a doubt, his willpower could withstand the killing aura of 380 crystals. As for the Earth body absorbing the crystals, the main factor was the Earth body's life genetic level. The 11th, Luo Feng sliced open his palm and began to absorb the crystals. Crystal after crystal was absorbed. With a 48 times life genetic level, his genes were extremely outstanding. The limit he could absorb was much higher too. The 61st, Luo Feng continued to absorb the crystals, his anticipation growing. The 81st, 82nd, 83rd, no. Luo Feng felt his bones and tendons breaking, his muscles tearing apart. Immediately the blood river energy began to flow back into the crystal. It only absorbed 82 crystals. Luo Feng couldn't believe it. Back then, when the golden horned beast absorbed 100 crystals for the first time, he hadn't trained in the 9-level manual. At that time, the golden horned beast's life level was only 10 times. His Earth body's life genetic level had reached 48 times. How could it not compare to the golden horned beast from back then? This? Is it because the blood river crystals are extremely suitable for the golden horned beast? Luo Feng thought. From the time he had interacted with the crystals till now, it seemed that other life forms had a hard time absorbing the crystals. Even his Earth body had to train in the 9-level manual before he could barely absorb 10 crystals. However, the golden horned beast had always been able to easily absorb them. No matter when, the golden horned beast's body could absorb. The only thing that troubled Luo Feng was his willpower not being able to withstand the killing aura. The blood river crystal comes from the gold and space natural beast god. Luo Feng thought. The golden horned beast belongs to the pinnacle bloodline of the metal type space beasts. It also has the swallowing ability, that space attribute. Maybe, the golden horned beast's life genes are naturally suitable for absorbing the crystals. Absorbing the crystals should have extremely high requirements for one's life genes. The golden horned beast was born this way. And the 9-level manual should be an overall increase in one's life genes. It's only a small increase in that area, that's why it's easier for me to absorb the crystals. Luo Feng pondered for a while before coming up with such a conjecture. Endless grass plain. The golden horned beast laid there. A small human silhouette was leaning on its huge claws. What do I do? Luo Feng leaned on the cold scales. I've only absorbed 82 crystals. I'm very close to 100. As long as I can absorb 100, the moment I activate it, it'll increase by 100 times. Then my Earth body will reach 4,800 times. Even though it's smaller, my Earth body's strength will be extremely strong. Don't tell me I have to wait until I train in the 6th level of the 9-level manual before I can let my Earth body absorb 100 crystals. No, maybe. Beast God blood. Luo Feng nodded. He immediately sent a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe. Chapter 1021 Swallowed Star. Virtual Universe Yu Xiang Mountain, before his desk. Luo Feng looked at the screen that displayed the information regarding the beast god blood. He couldn't help but crease his eyebrows. 100 blood river crystals can produce 1 drop of beast god blood. However, the production process is a little complicated. I can only apply for it from the virtual universe company. As for the effects of the beast god blood, Luo Feng was very clear. A drop of beast god blood merging into the body was actually equivalent to 1 blood river crystal merging into the body. Hence, using beast god blood was a very extravagant method. Usually, a maximum of 100 blood river crystals was enough. However, if one relied on beast god blood, 100 drops would be equivalent to 10,000 blood river crystals. This was the price. Only by paying 100 times the price could one lower the killing aura invasion and pain, etc. After all, for a human body to be able to absorb 10 crystals, it would take who knows how many eras to produce one. I wonder how much beast god blood I can get. Luo Feng thought. These precious resources are all strictly controlled. Many emperors who want to buy them have to wait for the auction. Even money can't buy them. Double quote. Simultaneously, Luo Feng sent out the request. After a while. Lord Luo Feng, how do you do? On the screen appeared a fox lady with furry ears and soft purple fur. She should be one of the foxmen from the human race. I need beast god blood. Luo Feng said immediately. According to the quota, Lord Luo Feng can get 50 drops for free. The fox lady smiled sweetly, however she was shocked within. Because the universe knights and universe lords didn't have the right to get resources for free. They had to rely on their contributions to the race to exchange for it. Without contributions, they wouldn't be able to get resources. And the emperors that were worth nurturing might get a free quota. However, the quota was usually very low. For example, 10 crystals, not even 1 drop of beast god blood. She specialized in dealing with the upper echelon of the race. There had never been anyone who got 50 drops of beast god blood for free. For them to be able to get so much for free, it meant that as long as they paid the price, they could get more. Indeed, the legendary absolute genius. And everyone says he's the Blade River Emperor. If he really is, then it wouldn't be strange at all. The fox lady thought. Send me 30 drops. Luo Feng said. Yes. The fox lady said, may I know where to send it? This is the address. Luo Feng immediately entered the address of his residence in the Primal region. His residence was currently in the Primal Chaos City Leader's territory. It was definitely the core of the Primal region. It's in the primitive mystic realm. The fox girl smiled. Then, the 30 drops of beast god blood will be delivered today. HM. Luo Feng nodded. He then turned off the call. Free. Luo Feng revealed a smile. Looks like the clan has prepared a free quota for me. It's just that I didn't ask for it, and when I'm not in a rush to use it, the clan won't automatically give it to me. 50 drops of beast god blood. I heard it's hard to get such a huge amount even in an auction. However, my earth body has already absorbed 82 blood river crystals. I just need 18 more drops of beast god blood. As for the golden horned beast, it would require over 600 crystals. Just relying on the beast god blood is too difficult. Luo Feng thought. His own golden horned beast's genetic level had already exceeded 6,000 times. And when he became an undying, with a large amount of high-level god energy as his foundation, naturally he would develop an extremely strong consciousness. A strong consciousness, to a certain extent, would help willpower too. Just like how a strong person's willpower would be easily strengthened, and a weak person who was about to faint would usually have weak willpower. Obviously, whether the soul was strong or not, had a supporting effect. Like the universe lords, their god energy was vast, their souls were one with the universe. It could be said their willpower surpassed Luo Feng's. Even though their encounters were all extraordinary, it was also because of their god energy. If a normal person wanted to have willpower comparable to a universe lord's, it was indeed impossible. My life level has already exceeded 6,000 times. From now on, every increase will be very small. There's no rush. Luo Feng thought. A mere 3 hours later. Outside Luo Feng's palace, there was a special servant who brought in a storage ring. Within it was the beast god blood. Go ahead. Luo Feng said. Yes. The undying servant replied respectfully. In the Primal Chaos City Leader's territory, even if it was a servant, or a food delivery person, they were all undyings, and they were all fighting over it. Without some ability, one couldn't even enter. After all, one could occasionally see the great primal chaos city leader here. Those who stayed here were usually the city leader's disciples and the upper echelon. Returning to the internal world, Luo Feng took out a silver briefcase from his space ring and easily opened it. There were 30 transparent transistors in the briefcase. Each transistor had a drop of dazzling golden light that emitted waves of energy. The roars of the beast god could be faintly heard. Beast god blood. Luo Feng carefully took out a transistor and gently removed the stopper, pouring it into his left palm. At first glance, it looked like a gold light. If one looked closely, one could see a drop of golden liquid within it countless origin law engravings flowed. Pa. The golden light dripped down and landed on his palm. In an instant, it completely seeped in. Following which, Luo Feng's entire skin glowed with a golden light. The blood river energy in every cell of Luo Feng's was already very dense. Hence, this drop of blood easily seeped in, and the reaction was extremely small. A black warrior, even making the primal chaos city leader teacher happy. He said absorbing the beast god blood would definitely be easy. Double quote. Right now, I've absorbed 82 crystals, far surpassing the black warrior's limit of 10. Luo Feng smiled. Absorbing the blood of the beast god is as simple as drinking water. He immediately took out another transistor and pulled out the plug, pouring the blood in. Drop after drop, the beast god blood permeated Luo Feng's body. After a while, absorbing all 18 drops of beast god blood was easier than Luo Feng had expected. However, when Luo Feng tried to absorb the 19th drop of beast god blood, that drop of beast god blood rolled around in Luo Feng's palm. No matter how hard he tried, it couldn't be absorbed. Looks like 100 is indeed the limit. Luo Feng nodded. The blood river energy within me has already reached its limit. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Blood river energy, activate. Rumble. Luo Feng's body suddenly exploded with an ancient energy, almost as though it came from the most ancient era of the universe. His body became taller and stronger, every inch of his skin was covered in scales, countless blood-colored threads wrapped around his body, especially on his chest. There was a huge beast god head roaring. It was incomparably exquisite, almost as though a real beast god was roaring. A faint golden glow enveloped his entire body. Ha ha ha, what a strong power! Luo Feng had long taken off his armor and personally felt the power within his body. Not right. Double quote. Luo Feng's expression changed. Why did it just pass 3,000 times? Luo Feng frowned curiously. According to his calculations, the moment he absorbed 100 crystals, his power would explode by 100 times. Just like the golden horned beast's right claw, it would initially explode by 100 times, 10 times its strength before activating it. However, as it reached 10,000 times, it couldn't grow anymore. I originally had 48 times. Now it's just past 3,000, which is a little more than 60 times before. Luo Feng revealed a curious expression. The effects had weakened. The effect of the blood river energy on the golden horned beast could be said to be perfect, but on the earth body, the effect was weakened. The beast god blood, to the other unique life forms in the universe, it's probably useless. Luo Feng pondered. For example, a water element life form, its genetic level has reached 1,000 times. Using the beast god blood might not work on it. The beast god blood is a natural beast god of gold and space. Double quote. Don't tell me, this beast god blood has an extremely good effect on me in the early stages, but as time goes on, the effects gradually weaken? Luo Feng guessed. However, it was just a guess. After which he didn't think any further. No matter what, the facts had already proven that after his earth body's beast god blood reached perfection, along with the basic 48 times, His genetic level had exceeded 3,000 times. Wait until I get the next metal plate of the 9 Calamities manual, then my genetic level can rise again. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Even though it wasn't the best situation he had hoped for, the possibility of 3,000 times his genetic level still made Luo Feng excited and happy. Because this was already the level of some of the pinnacle life forms in the universe. Luckily I have the 9 Calamities manual, otherwise I'd be like the trillions of life forms. My genetic level would at most increase by 100 times. Luo Feng thought. The 9 Calamities manual. This was the reason why Luo Feng was comparable to the pinnacle of life forms. The other Blood River crystals were just icing on the cake. Time passed. Ever since his earth body and the golden horned beast had absorbed the crystals, Luo Feng continued his training. Other than occasionally spending time with his family, everything was peaceful. In the blink of an eye, another 100 years had passed. Finally, it was time for the third body to be born. Within the internal world. On the plains, the golden horned beast's 4 claws were as thick as pillars, looking up at the sky. The Moshe clansman stood on the back of the golden horned beast, also looking up at the sky. In the sky, there was an incomparably huge oval-shaped golden egg floating. This oval-shaped golden egg was small when it first hatched, but as it grew, it got bigger and bigger, and now it was tens of thousands of km tall. Soon. It's about to be born. Such a huge size, will it be an ocean the moment it's born? Luo Feng's consciousness thought. Before the incubation was completed, the life within the golden egg was in a confused state. After about 8 hours, Kakaka cracks began to appear on the 10,000 kilometer tall golden egg. This made Luo Feng's other 3 bodies hold their breaths in anticipation. With a final crack, the eggshell completely broke apart. A 10,000 kilometer tall giant stood in mid-air. This was a naked body that could be said to be perfect. It was 10,000 kilometers tall, and its skin was white and translucent, almost like a jade carving. However, there were faint blood-red threads hidden within, giving it a bewitching feel. My third body. It's actually a flesh and blood life form. Luo Feng's earth body and the other 3 bodies were all stunned by this unexpected surprise.